is woodworking. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking that's where I got that from. So even and on here I got some samples of different stuff I used on this stuff. And it's only one coat, so I didn't want to come back and sand and reapply. Different finishes on each one. Is anybody familiar with the flakes for shellac? What I found out about this is you can dilute this and have your own, make your own, but I don't do that because when I use I want to seal something up. I want to seal it with this, especially if it's end grain, and this is de-waxed shellac. And the reason it's de-waxed, where did I put that? On the de-waxed stuff, you can put polyurethane over the de-waxed, whereas the regular shellac, you cannot put polyurethane over the top of that. So the sanding sealer works great for sealing end grain. Anybody know anything about varnish? I wish Brad was here. I don't have much experience on that, so I've seen it in older houses where all the wood trim and that is been done. That's all I know about the varnish part of it. So polyurethane, that's great for outdoor projects. And also, if I'm in a pinch, I could use that on roof stands too. Yeah. I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, correct. Yeah. My wife has a raised flower bed, and how should I finish that? Well, I had some water-based poly. I had a gallon of water-based poly. I says, you can use this. Nope. She had to go to the store and get her own water-based poly, so we put it on there. A year later, I'm out there sanding it, putting this on it. So something like Baltel, which was the red, so would that really help? I can't answer that part of it. I know it repels dirt from the squirrels and stuff like that, and rain. It just beads up like a car polish. It works real well on your outdoor equipment. Okay. It's far than by car. Or far okay. Star finish
is resistant to infrared, ultraviolet from the sun. Therefore, that won't yellow and turn dark the way a regular varnish will. That's an exterior varnish that you can use in sunny locations.
I'll see that.
Otherwise, it's more expensive than other varnishes. So for interior use on these wing stands, it's not going to give you anything that it has ingredients in it to make it resistant to ultraviolet. And our old sunshine is full of ultraviolet. That's what burns your butt.
Okay. See, and I said I didn't know anything about varnish. Look at that. Look at that. It was in my hand all that time. Thank you, Mike.
That both people use on the outside of their boats will be
We'll do that. Hello? It's something that I couldn't find it, so I could not do anything. I have some samples here I can send around, and this is all walnut, and I got linseed oil and antique oil, mahoney's oil, lacquer, shellac. So then we have different finishes. And polyurethane in the can. In case you get some of them spots you can't reach, I can use this. Okay. Folk art dye. I use some of this folk art dye from Hobby Lobby. I've had this stuff quite a while. I don't use very much yellow. I like the pink and the orange. The other's not my go-to stuff. And I got samples of that stuff in here. I apply it with rubber glove and an old T-shirt. Wow. It wipes on. Yeah. I think it's too thick for it to be a spray on, and then this is acrylic. You can dilute it a little bit if you wanted to. And I have samples of that right here. One's got 5. This would be the folk art dye, the first one. And that's what happens. You put a black dye on there, sand it back, and then put this over it. I use either this or alcohol-based artisans. And I get this from Craft Supply. It's about, I think, maybe $9 now, something like that. So,
like $3.95 and $9.95.
okay. And how I do that is, this is my go-to stuff. I love this stuff and this on my wig stands. I just wish we didn't have this on the internet. I thought this was my only secret that I know, so everybody's gonna know it now. But anyway, I take the black. I love to do it with oak because the oak has all of the there you go, pores on there. And when you use the black, it gets in that pores. So once it's in that pour, you come back and sand it. So it's just showing in the pores. And then you come back with another, you put this over the top of it, and it fills in what you sanded off. And this is alcohol, and I call him, I say, how long does it take to dry? He says, it don't take any time at all. He says, if you're really that much of a hurry, put it on there and light a match. Yeah. He said it'd dry real fast. So I don't know how your guys' shop is, but mine's kind of dusty and I didn't want any open flame in my place. And after that is done, I come back and sometimes I use a little spray can of poly to put on there. The only reason I do that is that sometimes it will smear. It'll have a little bit coming off on the rag. So I want to seal it a little bit with this and then come back and use my wipe on poly. Then after that is done, after I get that coat on, I come back, get my sanding pad, get all them specks of dust or dirt or whatever off of there, and then I take another coat of polyurethane, the wipe on, and wipe it down again. But mine on together. I do all of mine, they're not even assembled yet. So I have 3 different, that way where I can take my finger, put it in there and just roll it, put it on a piece of cardboard and do the top for the base. Then I have some clamps that I hold the spindle, and then the other clamps are holding a small 3/4 inch spindle. I let this sit on. For me, it's just easier than trying to do all of this. How will I handle it? And then when I get it done, I find that then I can come back later and then glue it up. And when I glue this up, the final part, I'll take my sanding pad, put on the top of there, put my clamp on there, and then when I take it off, there won't be any marks on there. So that sponge helps. You don't need a lot of pressure on there. And I use Type on 3 for gluing up my wig stands. And sometimes if I run a little bit loose, it'll fit on there very well. I'll take some, what is that? CA glue, hit the spindle with it, squirt it a little bit, then it fits in there nice and tight then. Any questions on that? I like this one too. My friend Terry had a bunch of, as you can see, it was spalted. And what are you going to do with that? Burn them? I said, hey, let me try. So between the spalting and a half a tube of CA glue, I was able to save about 7 of these. Took a little time, but I had fun doing it. And also, it's got that 6 or 7 coats of wipe on poly on there. And yes, Sam, don't forget to take these with you when you go. And like I told you earlier, these were a 2x4 challenge, and these are pine. And I kind of like the way the pine came out also. So, oh, and then the other one I had there.
Crowbar, do you buff any of those between coats?
No. The only thing I will do, Anton, is wipe it down with this. Cause I guess I'm an old dog. It's hard to teach me new tricks, but going to the buffer, I don't know if I want to try that or not.
That leaves some wax on,
What's that?
you buff it when you have some wax.
That would be wax on it then, wouldn't it? If you buff them out. And I don't think I'd want to have any wax, anything like that on there.
So when you do your polyurethane, each coat is dry, slightly sanded, and you put the next coat.
Yes, that is like, and usually I'll go out in the shop during the day, put the coat on and let it set overnight. The next day I'll come back and put another coat on. And then the next day I'll just trying to get, some days if humidity's perfect and it's cool, I can get 2 coats on at one try. But that's, all the stars have to be lined up just perfect and stuff like that.
Several at a time.
Oh, yeah, when I do, I think my minimum is 6 and my maximum was about 18. I start running out of stuff to put it on when I have 18.
Right.
So 6, 7 about, that's a good day's work right there. So
Another question on dyes. A lot of them are water soluble dyes you can use to raise the grain. If you have a water soluble dye, if you use denatured alcohol, will that work?
yes, yes, it will. I like, I'm glad you brought that up, Doug, because that's how I cheat. I raise the grain, come back and sand it a little bit in order to get all that sanding on here. There was a couple of holes on that pen. So after I sanded it, I come back and raise the grain on it. Then after I did that, I wipe it down. Then I go over to the air compressor. They were there. I'm just about ready to go then. After I get all the dirt, or after I get all the sanding dust out of there, after it's been blown off. But that's a good question. Yeah, and especially when you raise the grain, if you use polyacrylic, you raise the grain also. So you'll have to come back and sand that also and put another coat on after you use this. And this I probably use maybe 600 grit. Start with that, with the polyacrylic.
Natured alcohol, or is that like?
After I'm just about finished, when I'm finished with everything, and I gonna apply a stain or something, do it with the denatured alcohol, and come back and sand it with a high grit sandpaper, then go to the air compressor and blow all that stuff out.
So you raise the grain.
Yeah, then you sand it. Use the denatured alcohol on there because that too evaporates quicker.
That's like what we know.
And polyurethane, lacquer works good, but not on this. Polyurethane is cheaper than lacquer, but I have a friend of mine use the lacquer with, had something else in it. I made a baby print for the grandson. Catalytic, not catalytic. Anyway, he sprayed it for me and it hardens. It's a hardened lacquer. Came out perfect. Just perfect. So what Smiths we use down. Another finish I've tried. Renaissance.
Oh, yeah.
Who likes this stuff?
Very fine acidic shape.
What do you use it on? I've tried it on pens and I did not like it. It seems like to me it's not durable. Like,
It's a wax finish.
yes,
It's a real hard wax. But if you want a harder finish, go to something like polyurethane. Or some of these other finishes.
okay.
And put it on. And hold your hand. It's expensive stuff.
Yeah. I think this was
About $30.
yeah, about $30. Yeah. It's I've tried it and then I didn't use very much of it. So.
Lifetime supply.
I used it on a piece of maple and it didn't dark yellow at all. Well, I like.
And it stinks.
It's a wax.
But
It is a wax.
it is a wax, yeah. And oh, this must have been a long time ago. 1899, so it may be showing its age now.
It is.
It's only a couple of years old then.
Well, then I have one finish left, and like I told you guys earlier, these pens that I made are made with a CA finish. And I like them because it's a hardened finish, and I think they just look spectacular when they're done. So if you want to see these, I'm not going to pass them around. Come on up here and look at them up here, okay?
Do you use certain kinds of CA glue for that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let me ask you about that. This guy that I'm in a Turner's Club with down where I'm from, he uses a CA glue that does not get hot. For the CA glue I use, it burns my hands when I'm putting on my piece. But hard to throw rat.
Fix 3408.
That sounds like, yeah.
The only thing I want to use on this. It's medical grade, it's got no odor to it, it doesn't get the hot spots, it doesn't get the white spots, and it's got a retarder in it. So you've got about a 30-second work time on it before it actually attacks someone.
Well, this is better than the regular CA. This is Glue Boost, and here's this stuff is better than the regular CA. This won't crack. I've got a case of pens at home I've had for a couple of years. And over the time I went and looked at it, my biggest surprise was when I opened them up for Christmas gifts, out of the 20 I had in there, 10 of them were cracked and they looked terrible. This was the old CA glue. This will not do it. I don't know anything about the stuff Steve said. I'll write that down though, Steve, when we get done here, and I might try it. So
I look up on YouTube. He ordered, I looked at the order at wholesale, and he ordered so much more of it that it's not really worth it. But if anybody's interested, we do want to get a case here. I do have an account with Robertson's and Hero, I think it's called. So we can order in case one of close interested would work. But I can bring some next month and
yes. Does it come in with an activator? Does it come with an activator also?
see.
Okay.
What was it called again? It's called Fix Harfix 3408, which is the super thin, and there's a 3460. So the 3408 will absorb it a little bit. The 60 tends to sit on the top of it.
Well, Bob, your fins are cracked. How many coats of CA did you put on?
On these,
You know, the ones that crack. I mean, maybe you put too many coats on it, and that's what causes the crack.
well, probably about 3 well, 3 of the, uh, thin, and then probably 2 of the thick. Is that too many?
One big mix. If you put less CA on, it may not crack.
Okay.
I don't know, I was just, a thought.
You know, and I just, there's this land there, I just hate to do double work, you know. You'd have to disassemble them and reassemble them and,
Okay.
all right, does anybody have any questions? Yes,
What type of finish would be used on something that was made in 1910? Would that be lacquer
Yeah.
or varnish? How do you remove the lacquer?
Like saying that.
lacquer,
There's.
lacquer thinner. Or try,
Sandpaper.
yeah, the other, denatured alcohol. Okay, yeah, 19, you say 1910 then? Yeah,
His grandfather and his brother had pants chests made for them. And they measured the length of the pants. So one chest was 2 inches shorter than the other. We still have that chest. It was made in the early 1900s. Top needs some help.
That's usually.
but the top's in good shape,
Yes. It's just finished.
just someplace where you can put a little bit of stuff and check it out and see which one it is. Yeah, that's what I would do on it, and try that denatured alcohol.
Because then we can go back. Put something good.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions? Hey, it's a wrap. Thank you.